Good afternoon. This is the Ubiquiti webinar. I am Josh Bailey. I am the Ubiquiti uh, Senior Sales Specialist for D&H, and I am with Craig. He is the Ubiquiti rep. He is the enterprise and channel partner. He is going to share with you guys some information in regards to Ubiquiti products and how you can better fit these products into your customers' hands.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh, and thanks everybody for joining us. Like Josh mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit more about UniFi and ultimately how this can fit into your managed service offering so that you can be profitable, more profitable, which everybody likes, but also more scalable. And in order to do this, we're going to go through a variety of different points. We're going to start with who we are as a company and our key principle about layered value and how this fits into your sales strategy. We're going to go through some of our newer partner program offerings and programs. We're going to then get into how you actually can sell Ubiquiti and the opportunities that we provide so that you can add more added value revenue streams with that. And then last, we're going to talk about some of our newer products and features that are really exciting because they're going to help you scale to a lot larger individual sites, a lot larger multi-site deployments, and ultimately help you streamline your own operations. So without further ado, we start with an overview of all of our products. And I know a lot of you might already know who we are and what we do, but I think this is always helpful to show because we've really evolved over time. And depending on how close you followed us and how often you're using us, there might be varying degrees of knowledge about our offerings. You know, way back when we got our start in the fixed wireless space, more of our outdoor WISP market. And from there, that's when we migrated to more of your indoor traditional Wi-Fi access points. Natural next step was for us to go into our switches, firewalls, SD-WAN appliances, and ultimately we grew a pretty strong foothold in that networking space. But as of the past, 5 or so years, we've really skyrocketed and we've been getting into physical security in the forms of, your cameras, your door access control, as of late, sensors and alarm systems. And we also have a lot of other integrations to fit into whatever IT offerings you need. Your network attached storage, NAS devices, your managed VoIP phones, LTE and 5G solutions, both failover devices, but also mobile routing solutions as well. And we're getting more into some IoT devices and things like your electric vehicle charging and all of this. And again, I just really want to highlight this because this is going to really come into our product value prop that's going to translate into your customer's value prop. And ultimately, I think is going to help you increase your profits. So before we jump to the next slide, just wanted to do a quick poll here to see what solutions you guys have all installed, just to give us some context on, who's doing what, how do we want to cater the rest of this presentation. And Josh, let me know. I'm not sure if I should go on or just hold it here for a moment. I'm not sure if this follows or not.
Let me see. %5 responded so far.
Perfect. Oh, that jumped 20%.
Yeah, I was about to say, and then it just jumped again.
Cool. We'll wait a couple more seconds, let a few more people respond, then we'll continue forward.
We got 50%, so.
And while we're waiting for the poll to happen, everyone be aware that we are reviewing the Q&A. So if you type in the Q&A on the side, Josh will take a look and he'll interrupt me if it's a fitting question or might respond in the chat. If I see something, I'm happy to jump in. Ultimately, we want to make sure that this is going to bring the most value for all of you. And there will be a dedicated Q&A session also at the end too, if you want more elaborate responses there. Cool. So we got about 75% complete. So we'll move ahead. Awesome. Yep. Most everybody here is doing network. Glad to see it. People using all of the portfolio. Great. So with that in mind, I want to talk about this key principle of layered value. And that's why you see value cubed here. We believe and we prioritize really delivering value on top of value on top of value, both to you as our partner and to our end customers. And that first layer of value is going to be industry leading hardware with the top of the line price to quality ratio. Now, what I mean by this is that we are not the cheapest solution out there, nor do we try to be. But we come in incredibly cost effective, especially considering all that you get with the hardware. Now, our hardware is very high end, it's robust, it's also thoughtfully designed. Every single component, from how the product feels to how it balances in your hand to how sturdy it is to the out of box experience, everything is very thoughtful. And I think that it's one of the best premium experiences out there. So when you are considering that price point, I think that we're untouchable. The second one, which hopefully all of you are aware, is our customer-centric, license-free business model. Once you buy the hardware, that's it. It's yours. You can continue to manage it forever. You can get support. We give you, updates, and I'm talking about new feature updates. All sorts of things are yours. You don't have any recurring mandatory licensing fees like that, which I think is really great. And this is actually going to be one of the strategic points that we talk about later, how you can actually use this to your advantage. Last is going to be our innovative software and design. Now, this I think is the most important one because we are, over 90% of our company is R&D and product centric. So whenever we're creating new features, new products, we're trying to achieve a real life business objective. Things that our customers, people installing this every day, are talking to us about. We like to understand what we're solving for, create a design that most efficiently and intuitively allows our users to do that objective. And then we work backwards from there in order to implement the most practical solution. So rather than a lot of vendors who work from the ground up and think of these nuanced, in the weeds concepts and then layer things on top of it and add all of this confusion and require a lot of know-how, we go the opposite way. We say, hey, how can we achieve this thing in the most efficient and intuitive way possible? And that's why I think that our products are truly an investment, not a cost, not something that you're expensing off on your balance sheets. This is truly something that's always getting better and better and better year after year. So with that overview in mind, I'll shift and talk a little bit more about our partner program offerings, namely through D&H. So with that in mind, I want to just show you a couple key contacts so you know how to engage with D&H depending on what you're trying to accomplish. First one is going to be Ubiquiti Specialist at dnh.com. This is something where it's going to get over to Josh, and it's going to be anything related to our programs, these partner program offerings we're talking about, deal registration, which we'll get to in a minute, product availability, and in general, if you're not sure where to go, maybe you need something from Ubiquiti, you need something and you don't know where to go to, Ubiquiti Specialist at dnh.com is going to be the right path. And we work and have meetings very regularly, so we're incredibly in tune with the things going on there. As you get to the need for pre-sales, technical questions, demos, stuff like that, that's where you can reach out to tech solutions at dnh.com. And we have a team of trained engineers there that are going to be able to help you with this. And again, we work very closely together. So we're going to make sure that you have the support directly to us, especially as you get into these larger, more complicated projects, and maybe you need us to get on call directly with the end user, whoever it is, we're there and we've got your back for all that. So with that in mind, we get to the fun stuff, our channel partner program. This is really important for us because this is going to be a way that we can, give our value add partners far more margin on certain qualified partner program SKUs. Now, this margin is going to range from 20 to 30% discount depending on the specific model, but largely this is going to be focused on our higher end enterprise portfolio, with the rationale being that we understand that a lot more goes into these higher end projects. You need to invest your time and effort to build out the solution, working with the customer to understand their requirements. So we wanted to make sure that you also had a way to get more profitability directly from that hardware sale itself. A couple other really important benefits that go along with this partner program is, large project pre-sales. Obviously, you have the D&H team here, but as I alluded to in the previous slide, as you get into these really large and strategic projects, and we're looking at multi-site global deployments, things like that, we're here to directly back you, and we're going to ultimately make sure that the project is successful and that you can win that business and are going to be successful with it. Another big point here is priority inventory allocations. We want to make sure that if you ever are hitting any blockers with product availability, if you're on a very tight project timeline, but this is a big deal, we're here to help. We're not going to be able to do this for every single project, but we typically say, hey, if this is a $50,000 deal that's using our latest generation of hardware, that's core Ubiquiti products, right? Like I'm talking your switches, your APs, your firewalls, cameras, stuff like that. I can't guarantee every single accessory and SKU. Let us know. Talk to Josh. Talk to me. We want to make sure that we're going to be there to back you, and we're going to try our best to get you that priority allocation so that you can meet your timeline. This is just a quick overview of some of the pricing. You'll see this actually in your partner portal on the D&H website, which we're working on getting up and should be up soon, just to show you that we are building in a lot more margin here for these products. And again, I mentioned that this is a lot of higher end products. So with those higher end products comes one of our key features of them, which is going to be our high availability and full stack redundancy. Basically, when you're using all of these products together, you're going to be able to eliminate any single points of failure from your network. This is things like your, gateway failover using VRRP at the edge. Our aggregation switches are going to have your multi-chassis link aggregation for active-active load balancing and failover. All of the rack-mounted equipment is going to have modular hot swappable fans, hot swappable power supplies. Switches, we're going to be releasing switch stacking with 100 gig stacking ports here later this year, so you'll be able to stack up to 8 switches in one go. We've got our E7 access points, which have dual uplinks, so you get full power and data redundancy, right? A lot of different things like this. So some people, although they don't need the full bandwidth and capacity offered on these higher end solutions, we actually see that a lot of our successful partners are able to successfully push these because they're really focusing in on the mission critical aspect and how these are going to eliminate customer downtime. And at this point, these really are tried and true solutions. I understand that several years ago, we were most prominent in the SMB market, but we've really come a long way, especially over the past couple of years. So as you get into these higher end deployments and they say, oh, Ubiquiti, aren't they SMB? Is this going to work? The answer is yes. We're going to be incredibly capable. We've got our case studies now. You can check out casestudies.ui.com. And this is where we're going to post a lot of customer success stories. We're continuing to add new customers here, but ultimately we're prioritizing going and showing different deployments across a variety of verticals so that no matter if you need someone in healthcare, education, whatever it is, we're going to have a deployment that you can feel comfortable showing your end user, and they can ultimately feel comfortable backing the decision to go to UniFi. That brings us now to our partner phone support. So this is relatively newer, I would say earlier this year. Pretty big deal because we're ultimately giving you and your entire team the opportunity to get direct phone support from our tier 2 engineers across any site that you manage. So it's $1,000 per year, and you're going to get direct phone access to our teams that are based in Chicago, Illinois, and Stockholm, Sweden. Benefit there, great English, very good technical talent. So you go, you call. Again, this applies to anybody in your organization, and it applies to any site that you manage. We do give 10 incidents with this. I do want to clarify that an incident may consist of multiple phone calls, right? So if we need multiple calls in order to help get your issue resolved or whatever you might be doing, that's fine. That's an incident. If you run out of incidents, no problem. It's super easy to just re-up and refresh all of those. And of course, maybe you're not actually doing the managed service after the fact. Maybe you are just doing the installations and your end customer is going to take it from there with their own in-house IT team. No problem. We also have what we call site support, which is sold on a per site basis. And this is available directly through D&H. So you as the partner have the ability to go ahead and sell that to your end customer. So again, this is typically really good if you're just doing the integration services and the partner's taking it from there. But I've also seen this used in co-managed scenarios where you are there and involved, but so is the end user. And you can sell this on top to the end user so that their team can directly call us. Or maybe even, you know that the end user is a very large, complicated site. It's mission critical. You don't want it to pull from, your 10 incidents. I've seen a lot of partners just go ahead and sell this as the added service to the customer too. Then to kind of put the bow on top for added peace of mind, we have UI Care, which is going to be our 5-year priority RMA service. Again, this is something that you can purchase directly through D&H. The benefit here is that it really helps with that RMA hardware exchange process here. Although D&H is the one selling it, this return service is actually directly from Ubiquiti, and it's from an allocated stack of hardware. So you never have to worry, is the product going to be available? Is it not going to be available? If you buy the UI Care, 100% it will be available. We'll have a button directly by the device that has UI Care attached to it, and you're going to be able to return it instantly. Once you click to submit, we're going to ship you the new unit expedited. It's typically received next day. And we're going to give you a return shipping label. So return shipping is no cost. And you're going to have unlimited service over that 5-year period. So if anything goes wrong, you can keep on returning that. No extra charge to you. And again, if we're talking about the higher end enterprise products and this concept of high availability redundancy, this is typically a no-brainer to add there. It's really a value add for the customer, and it allows you to also showcase your own value add, right? Although we are shipping the unit next day, this allows you to attach on the actual replacement part. So you can add this as your own line item on the quote that's going to ultimately help you increase your profitability there. So now we're going to jump more into the actual sales of the stuff. But first, one more poll here. What are the biggest challenges that you guys currently face with your tech stack in terms of, being a managed service provider? We'll give a couple moments here for this one. And while we're waiting, Rodney, shout out to Rodney. Question, do you have extended warranties available? Yeah, so the UI Care is the extended warranty. Typically, it would be the 1-year warranty, but with this, you're going to get it extended to 5, and then you're going to also have that next day replacement component of it. Scott, we need SAML for the main login of the controller so it can, another question came, but Scott, you just wait because we've got some awesome info for you at the end of the presentation.
Can we add to the UI Care question? Does UI Care include tech support diagnostics or just an RMA exchange replace?
It's an RMA replace, but this is where your integrator phone support comes in. If you call us up, we'll help, we'll analyze it, and you'll get that full run through there.
And then one more question with UI Care. Does it have to be bought at the same time of the product, or can you go back after buying the products and buying it later at a later date?
Currently, it has to be bought with the products. Awesome. With that, we'll jump to the next one here. Awesome. Cool. So again, we're going to talk here about really the positioning and how to sell UniFi. And to all of our benefit, I genuinely believe UniFi sells itself, right? Once we get over that historic hurdle of people, wondering if UniFi can handle scale at this point, which we can, right? And this is where the case studies come in. This is where some of the stuff I'm going to show you in just a little bit comes in. Really, the positioning is super easy. UniFi can do everything that you want, and it's going to be license free. And that's important because obviously license free is going to mean significantly lower total cost of ownership for your customer, right? And this is where that layered value concept comes in, right? Not only are we going to have cost-effective hardware, not only are we going to have no licensing fees, but we're going to continue to have new software that's going to make the experience better and better and easier for the end user. So you can see here, on some metrics over a 5-year period, you can save that end user 70, 80, 90% cost of ownership, which is awesome, right? That I think sells itself when we're talking about it. And the fact that we have such great software and reliable product is just an added layer of value. Now, with that in mind, I know that some of you might be thinking, oh, great, lower cost of ownership, lower price point. How do I, as a partner, make money? There's no margin in here for me. And I think this is where we have to reframe how things are done. I think that the fact that we offer such competitive pricing actually gives you complete flexibility so that you can make even more money, not just in nominal dollars, but even a larger percentage of the overall project. So for example, a lot of these legacy brands and some of our competitors out there, they force mandatory licensing fees, recurring fees, where the end user is taking whatever money is allocated to their budget and they're funneling it into these recurring licensing fees. That means that there's very limited area for you to sell on your value add. Without this mandatory fees going to the vendor's pocket, we give you the flexibility to really profit off of your value add services and take that money and put it into your own pocket. And a lot of, I've heard it a lot where people say, well, Ubiquiti has transparent pricing. A customer can go to store.ui.com and they can look up pricing and I can't upcharge it. And, historically that was true. This is why we added the higher end enterprise products and built in more margin. And for those of you who say, okay, well, I can't use these higher end projects, how do I make money? This is where you have to sell on the added value. And when I say sell on the added value, I'm not saying that you need to do anything different. I just mean that you need to rethink how you're giving your quotes and how you're conveying this to your end customers, right? A lot of people and a lot of vendors have historically just been black boxes. Nobody knows how much the equipment is, so you can mark up whatever you want, and it kind of is what it is. A customer's never going to find out. But with UniFi, I think all you need to do is translate, hey, how much margin do I actually want? Let me take that, and instead of just marking up line items, let's start packaging the solutions, right? That's one option. Make a bronze, silver, gold package, and you're delivering on the added value of the solution. Hey, we are getting you full basic connectivity for your bronze package. For silver, we're upgrading. You're going to get the latest Wi-Fi 7 technology, maybe 6 gigahertz for more performance, video streaming. And for the gold package, we're going to get you the full security offering. We'll add on your content filtering, your configuration of the firewall, whatever. If you say, okay, well, I can't I can't package my solutions. A customer wants a line item. Awesome. This is where things like the UI care comes into place. Instead of just selling an Enterprise Fortress Gateway as a line item, sell Enterprise Fortress Gateway with 5-year next day replacement. There's your value add. There is not a transparent pricing available for that. Maybe you add on a design fee for your UniFi design fee. Maybe you add on your HIPAA compliance fee, right? You're retaining all of these logs, right? There's a lot of opportunities here. And really my main point with saying all of this is, yes, whereas you cannot just add on direct upsells to every single line item, you can make the exact same margin that you want, even more. All you have to do is reposition how you're selling that and make it appear as if it's a value add. Because at the end of the day, an end customer is coming to you because they need your help. So all you have to do is cross that psychological border and portray this as a value add. And once it is, I promise you, they're not going to have any complaints on that. In terms of some of the value add services, we look at UniFi Network, and there's so many options, right? There's your traditional managed network, managed security, but we, from a product standpoint, also give a lot of opportunities that you can use as your value add. So for example, we have things like our cybersecure enhanced. It starts at $99 per year, but this is going to give you direct access to a couple of new things. First is going to be your extended intrusion prevention set. So we partner with Proofpoint and ultimately get you a much wider array of intrusion prevention signatures. And we get real-time updates as new threats are uncovered, as existing threats evolve, change. Proofpoint's team of cybersecurity researchers are going to be continuously updating all of these, and we push them automatically to any UniFi gateway. Doesn't require a manual update, doesn't require anything from your point. It just goes. So this is one of the ways that you can sell your customers on that deeper threat protection. The same exact service comes with our advanced content filtering. So here's where we also partnered with Cloudflare and basically created more than 100 curated content filtering categories. So however you want to use this, you can use this as an added layer of threat prevention. You can use it for compliance in an education environment, things like your CIPA, child protective filters, whatever it is. In a traditional business environment, you can even just do this for increased productivity, right? Blocking your social media, things like that from the different teams. The point is that this is a value add offering from UniFi that you can translate into more direct revenue going into your pockets as well. And everything's logged. We have real-time logging, not only of traffic flows, what policies are being applied, but also the system logs, things like your network health, your network performance, client and admin authentication, admin change logs. This is all going to be there. So this is going to make it really easy for you to add on your, managed SOC services, oversight into the customer's deployment and all of that stuff. We make it easy to integrate with your SIM provider. If you need, log retention for long-term storage, audit, compliance purposes. This is really common for PCI and HIPAA. We have that. Just type in the IP address. We're going to send whatever logs that you need out. They're going to be easily parsable. They're in the industry standard common event format. So it's going to integrate really nicely with any other logs that you're ingesting on your end. Another opportunity is something we have that's called Alarm Manager. Just like the name states, you can think about this as custom notifications for you, right? If you're looking for internet disconnected, there's a lot of packet loss, a UniFi device is offline, whatever it might be, we can send this to your email or mobile push. But more importantly, we actually have webhook integrations, including a direct integration for ServiceNow. So as you're looking into your help desk and network management, this will even streamline activities. Set up your key logs for whatever you're delivering to your end user and make it so that that'll automatically generate a ServiceNow ticket. It's going to assign it to one of your technicians so that they can go and quickly investigate. And the best part about this is because it's real time and proactive, a lot of times we find that partners can get ahead of the issues before their end customer even knows about it. So streamlining your operations and a happier customer, that's ultimately going to lead to more business. And then one more cool one is, our Site Magic SD-WAN. This is one specific example, but it's indicative of the larger picture that because we focus on user experience, we're going to save you time for things that would otherwise have been a pretty complicated task. Our Site Magic SD-WAN lets you connect thousands of different sites together with a few button clicks. And it's incredibly flexible. We let you have redundant quad active VPN tunnels from your sites. We allow you to configure BGP if you need any connections with cloud service providers. Everything is fully possible directly here. You can set your own SLAs if your Teams traffic is under a certain ping and latency, fail over to another connection, whatever it is. We make it really easy not only to remain connected, but to make sure that the performance is meeting the desired SLA for your customers. And again, this is just managed networking. And I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. As we talk about adding more and more of our product lines to the mix, this is where those value add opportunities and ultimately revenue streams compounds. We look at our managed surveillance services. If you're using UniFi Protect, well, now you can be selling services like 30, 60, or 90-day camera retention. I charge X price per camera times however many cameras. That's all stored locally, accessible remotely, but stored locally. That's something that's implicit in the system, but it's very easy for you to sell your customer on the value of being able to retain those, or setting up custom alerts for this, right? That whole alarm manager that I showed you, that's available through all of our UniFi applications. So you can imagine a lot of custom logic around that, right? My business closes at 8 p.m. If I have an AI detection for a person, turn on my floodlights or play sound out of our horn that says my business is closed, right? There's all of these nice integrations and opportunities that you can use. Things like archive to a cloud provider. We have that built in and you can sell that as a service. If you're using our NAS device, you can integrate Protect with our NAS and archive additional footage to the NAS. You can do, cloud backups. We have things like Mac Time Machine backup that you can go ahead and funnel in, right? The point is there's so many opportunities for you to sell on value, and that comes at no extra cost to you. You're just using our license-free products. And again, in addition to having more of those revenue streams, this is going to consolidate the vendor overhead for you. You don't have to worry about going to a bunch of different vendors for a quote on network, a quote on surveillance and door access from other vendors. If something goes wrong, you don't have to deal with vendors pointing fingers saying it's this person's fault or that person's fault. It really makes it easier across the board, from speccing out and procuring your quotes, procuring the products, obtaining support, programming them, right? It's one single point, which is ultimately going to reduce your overhead and streamline all of your deployments. So with that in mind, I wanted to shift gears just slightly and talk more about management at scale. There's so many different initiatives and things that we've released in the past year. I can't go into all of them now, but I did want to focus on one key concept here, because this is going to be a really big priority for us, especially as we go through the rest of this year and into 2026. So hopefully you all know that Site Manager is really the foundation of our centralized management. We have a hybrid cloud, so all of your data lives locally wherever it's deployed, but our cloud lets you securely access and manage those different sites, all license free. This is great. This is where you log in, you see every deployment that you either own or have admin permissions to. But historically, one of the downsides to this is that, again, each of those control planes are still local. So if you need to go into one and make changes, it's typically distinct from the rest. So a big priority of ours is unifying that control plane and making it so it's way easier to manage large amounts of sites. Doesn't matter if you have 10 sites, 10,000 sites, we want it all to have a similarly easy management experience. So the way we're doing that is something currently available called organizations, but it's going to soon be renamed. I won't go into all of that because that's coming very soon this year. But the whole idea here is that from Site Manager, you can go ahead and you can select specific sites and you can group them into an organization. And this is indicative of really matching the structure of a real world organization. And in doing this, the first immediate benefit that you get is going to be the ability to centralize your user and admin management across those sites and to integrate with an identity provider. So this is going to be your Entra, your Google Workspace. I saw someone mentioned Jump Cloud, LDAP, your on-prem Active Directory, all of this stuff. You're going to be able to go click and integrate in and pull in all those users. And it's something that's super easy. Let's see here. I've got a video. So we're going to play this video just to show you how easy this is. Fingers crossed that the video plays. There we go. I think it's playing. So yeah, if you guys, can you guys see that? It's in my top right corner. Josh, can you see that as on the main screen?
I can, not on the main screen. I see it on your screen, your camera.
Ah, okay. How do we get that shifted over?
It's a good question.
It stole the thunder. This is a magical experience here.
I'm getting thumbs up though, so it looks like people are able to see it. Lots of thumbs up.
Perfect. Yeah. So ultimately, what you're looking at is I literally recorded this off of my screen and integrated it with a live Entra environment. And I don't know how many of you have done some of these integrations. I personally audited a ton, and I can tell you they are a pain. And ours is by far, hands down, the easiest out there. You literally click Entra, you sign in with your credentials, and you select what user groups that you want to integrate, and that's it. The process literally takes under 90 minutes, which I'm telling you, I have audited way too many than I would like to share. Hands down, we're the easiest. And once your users are imported, we're going to maintain a real-time syncing. So we use SCIM protocol, which means that we're going to continue to sync with that identity provider. So if the company is bringing on new users or users are leaving, we're going to stay in tune with that. You no longer have to go to UniFi and remove users and do whatever. We're going to streamline that process so you don't have any admin overhead. And so your next question might be, okay, cool. Now that we have users in here, what can we do with them? Well, one of the key things that we can do is we can centralize their access to services like Wi-Fi, VPN, and door access control. Once you import users, you have all the users, but you also have their user groups and other metadata. So whether you're assigning permissions to one user individually, or you're going and mapping your user groups to specific policies, you can come right in here and provide access to things like secure Wi-Fi, secure VPN, and again, door access control. And once you grant the first permissions to a user, we actually automatically onboard them to something that's called identity endpoint. And again, this is all license free, but we're going to take the email associated with their IDP user. We're going to send out, hey, such and such companies onboarding you to identity endpoint, sign in here. We use SAML-based SSO, so they're going to be pushed to authenticate with that identity provider, with Entra, with Google Workspace, whatever the heck their credentials are that they know and are familiar with. We're going to use those exact same credentials. So if you have MFA already configured, we're going to use that. You're going to get access to the, this more robust, more secure zero trust networking concept without any additional configurations. And once they log in with this endpoint, it's really going to be one central spot where they can do everything they need to interact with your UniFi deployments. So one credential on their phone that they can use to access doors across any site. Remember, we have, touch pass, so they don't even have to click the app. They just scan their phone and you can open up the doors. They can auto connect to Wi-Fi. They can, connect to the VPNs that you give them access to. And again, you have your multi-factor authentication challenge here too, so you can make sure that even if the device gets stolen, you're still continuously authenticating and making sure that it's going to be a secure experience. And again, I can't emphasize enough how easy the admin experience is, which is great, but also it's such a nice, smooth end user experience, which is ultimately a key part of this, right? Nobody wants these clunky experiences to go just to get on Wi-Fi or get a resource they need. And I think that we've really designed this to be streamlined and make it so that an end user feels good using this and isn't going to complain. And again, this is going to open up to the entire UniFi ecosystem. So as you're starting to use more and more technologies, it's just going to get better and better and better because that end customer has one place that they can go to access everything. And one more thing I'll share is, this new concept of orchestrations and templated policies. Once you create this organizational fabric, you're going to be able to go in and you're going to be able to have one location where you can create configurations and simultaneously push them to all sites at once. And again, we didn't used to have this. You used to have to go into every site individually, but this orchestration is going to be really powerful to streamline that management. And it's going to allow you to start templatizing things, creating site groups based on, small, medium, large store, however you need to do it, whatever your business objective is. These are going to make it incredibly scalable for you to manage multiple sites simultaneously. And again, this is really just the beginning. There's going to be a lot that's going to be released just this year. So in 2025, beyond this, but I don't want to ruin the surprise. All I would say is stay tuned. You should see more in the next couple of weeks here. So just to bring us back now to the bigger picture here, and that's okay. How do we actually use UniFi as an MSP to win and to succeed? First is to take advantage of your exclusive partner advantage. Use your enterprise portfolio when you can. These are great for high performance mission critical installs, and this is going to be where you can earn a lot more margin on it. Whether or not you use those, keep in mind that you as a partner have your dedicated support. You can resell support to the end users, however you want to use your incidents. You have a lot of flexibility there. And you also have things like UI care. So this is going to help you and further enable you to add value add services, right? From here, rely on UniFi to sell itself. You have the case studies, you trust us, you have a team at D&H, and you have a team at Ubiquiti that are all backing you and are going to make sure that you succeed. So trust that and let UniFi sell, right? Go to the customer. The economics will sell itself when they understand how cost effective this is. It's a no-brainer. As long as we can make them feel good that UniFi will be able to meet their requirements, it will. It's going to sell itself, I promise. Keep in mind the larger opportunity. Again, we're in there. We're using the partner offerings. We're able to sell. Remember, multiple verticals. It's not just about UniFi Network. We have things like Protect, Access, all of these things that are opportunities for new revenue streams. and also more opportunities for you to sell on your added value. So what I'm trying to say is, remember, zoom out. We're not trying to just line item hardware pricing and that's it. Think about what's important to the customer. How can you add a new line item that's positioning value to your customers? Once you can do that, you're going to be golden. And I'm telling you, you're going to profit like never before. And the last is scale like never before, right? We really make it easy to manage all of your sites, to streamline operations, the multi-site management that we just talked about, the templatization, things like our alarm manager, which is going to make sure that your techs are on top of issues that arise at sites. There are so many opportunities to make management easier for you and to make the user experience for your customers better. And obviously, happier techs means fewer support calls, means less headaches. Those happier customers ultimately are going to translate into more business for you. So bottom line, your business grows when you choose UniFi. With that, thank you very much, and we'll open up to some Q&As.
So I was looking through some. I like this one's pretty good because you talked about it a few times. So I wanted this one to be with first question. Zane from Real IT Care. Today, Ubiquiti does not charge for licensing. Have they stated that they will never charge for licensing?
No licensing is so core to our business model. We will not do licensing. So I talked about this identity provider integration that we have. Some of you may or may not know we have this older product called Identity Enterprise, and it did allow you to do an IDP integration, but it was cloud reliant, and therefore there was a recurring cost for it. Part of the reason that we shifted this model and completely re-architected this system was to get away from the licensing model and to make it so that this followed the rest of our business model of no licensing fees. So all of that to say, we've been invested in this new feature for over a year in development, all to make it so that you can do what you needed without the licensing. So with that in mind, no, I would never expect licensing fees.
Christopher from Freedom Information Management asks, is it in the works to have the access control and surveillance systems be able to connect to police notification systems?
So we have some things in the pipeline that will make physical security much easier and in tune with other things, is what I will say.
Okay. Matt from Envision Technologies, for the partner program that you have, why only 10 calls per year would be?
So look, we don't have this mandatory licensing model. So whereas other vendors are charging you out of the wazoo and maybe the phone support's in there, we need a way to really distinguish who is serious and who is not, right? We've come from the SMB market. So with that in mind, we thought that $1,000 is such a little amount and hurdle that if you pay it, we wanted to make sure to filter people out so that the SLAs don't get ruined. If somebody is serious, I think that $1,000 is a very, very fair price. It makes it so that you and your team are making sure to handle what you can and not just throwing everything at support. It also makes sure that, these one-off projects aren't just buying support and they're going to, crowd up the lines and make it so that it takes longer for you to get contact for us.
Okay, so back to UI care. You said next day. Is that 24 hours, 7 days a week? Scott from Nuvis asked.
Yeah, so it's going to depend on your exact location and when you submit it. But yeah, in general, it is indeed a next day replacement.
So a question from another one of the customers: being an MSP, do you offer one pane of glass to manage multiple sites clients?
Yeah, so this is where the site manager comes into play. If you log in as the MSP, you can see all of your customer sites there. And you can create logical groups to say this is customer A, this is customer B, customer C. And then what I started to talk about at the end was a way that you could create a tighter management experience for each of those customers, namely things like multi-site provisioning within one of those customer groupings, things like centralized user management and admin management within those customer groupings. And this is where we're going to continue to invest and make it even easier for you to have a multi-tenant MSP model for your customers.
Francisco from Ashton Solutions. I may have missed it, but what is the minimum for deal reg? And is this partner program something we need to sign up with separately?
Yeah, so there is no minimum for deal reg. How it currently works is that we have a dedicated set of partner program SKUs, which are largely going to be our higher end enterprise lineup. So things like your enterprise fortress gateway, your enterprise switches, your E7 access points, things like that. Whenever you procure them as a value add partner, you're going to get, your built-in partner pricing. We currently have deal registration for them now because we want to make sure that this is truly going to a value add partner and not somebody who's just going to turn around and resell them online at some reduced MSRP and hurt you guys that are adding value. We are in the works of shifting how the process works and ultimately whitelisting partners that are known to not have an online store. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to just procure them with your partner pricing.
Sorry, trying to find some more here. They're flowing in, just making sure get some good ones. Like the proof point subscription, are there any plans for gateway level AV subscriptions on the roadmap?
For AV, like
Yeah,
antivirus or I'm assuming.
audio video, A/V, audio video, I
Okay,
assume.
okay. Yeah, so actually, we do have some upcoming AV switches. They will be available in the partner program. Currently, starting on our Pro Max series of switches, Pro Max, Pro XG, and ECS, we do have AV port profiles that are going to auto optimize your DSCP tags on the traffic. They're going to have all of the IGMP settings, queries that you need. So that part is available. What the AV switches are going to get you is, in addition to those auto tunings, they're going to have our PTP v2 protocol. So you're going to get your grandmaster clock for more of the precise distributed audio video.
So I apologize, Craig. He was talking about antivirus.
That's okay. I wanted to talk about AV switches anyway, so that was a
So
good.
did I, and that's what I'm saying. I was like, "Oops!" I was so excited for the audio video that I assumed it was that answer.
Yeah. So I don't want to give away like anything on the roadmap, so I'm not going to say yes or no. But what I can say is that we are at a lot of events. We hosted our own event in Miami just a couple weeks ago. We do these webinars, and a big purpose of some of these is to hear feedback and understand that feedback so that we can implement it.
Do you have any plans for a not for resale pricing for partners?
Admittedly, not really. I think a lot of these NFRs is like, oh, hey, here's your discount and no licensing fees on these models. What I would say is we already don't have licensing fees. Um, a lot of our products have the exact same user experience, maybe with some additional products and features. So for like, $400 or $500, you can get yourself a full stack of Ubiquiti equipment that's going to show you exactly what you need to do. And if you're working on, a much larger project that needs some sort of proof of concept, then yeah, we can get flexible and understand what the requirements are and what we have to demonstrate, and we're open to that. But generally, like a blanket NFR program, probably not. I would say I think the products are made to be accessible. But if you want the higher end products, then yeah, the partner pricing still does apply.
Caesar from Best Networks is asking best practices for UISP portal future for this. We are trying to sell more of them.
Uh, Admittedly, I'm not very in tune with UISP, so I'm not the best person to answer that.
Okay. Caesar, if you want to message me after this, email ubiquitispecialist@dnh.com. We can look into that. Do you want to talk about the UPS line? The new UPS line that's coming out?
Just because I don't know offhand what info is and is not available,
Okay.
I'm gonna pass for that one. Okay, here's one. Josh said, if there is no licensing fees, what motivates Ubiquiti to keep delivering updates? We're mission driven. We are, more than 90% employee owned. And again, from first principles, we're all about the user experience. And we're a public company. So you can look in the financial statements, we are selling more and more hardware, and we've found that we do not have to charge all of this recurring revenue to be a profitable business. We believe in what we do. We want to deliver value. That is why one of those big principles was this idea of value on top of value on top of value, the layered value proposition. We just don't need to, is the short of it. We do things different, and we're proud to do things different. Awesome. Looks like we're about at time. I'm scrolling through, not seeing any more questions. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate all your time being here. We're looking forward to, continuing to partner, continue to grow with you. We're here supporting you. We're here with D&H. We're going to make sure that everything goes well. And yeah, let's keep at it.
Awesome, Craig. Thank you very much for this time, and thank you everyone for joining us. Again, if you have any more questions that weren't answered, please feel free to email me ubiquitispecialist@dnh.com, and I'll be happy to get you your answer. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Take care.